I'll call the meeting to order. And Laura, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Sill,
Here.
Commissioner Koch,
Here.
Vice Chair Wilson,
Here.
Chair Ross,
Here.
and Commissioner Chung is not present yet.
Great. And hopefully all right, that wasn't him. So, all right. Welcome everybody to the Portola Valley Architectural and Site Control Commission meeting of Monday, June 14th. We have a relatively modest agenda today, but we'll start with oral communications and invite any members of the public who might be with us today to address us on any topic that is not on our agenda today, with the understanding that we're unable to discuss or take any action on items that are brought to our attention during oral communications. Laura, do you see anybody queued up?
Yeah, we have Caroline Vertonghen.
All right, Caroline, welcome, and you're on the air.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for taking my questions or remarks. I thought that 77 Palmer was originally scheduled for today, so I didn't see it on the agenda. Could somebody tell me when it is scheduled for review?
Laura, do you have that?
Yeah, tentatively scheduled for June 28th, but it's not confirmed yet. So it'll be confirmed when we send the notice in the mail for all the neighbors within 300 feet.
Well, I will be out of town. I'm actually out of the country. So one of the issues that I have is what I sent by email. It's been an ongoing issue on Palmer Lane, and that is water pressure. Cold water has not been cooperating, and so all we see is a switch in staff. One superintendent leaves and then gets replaced and, you know, takes the burden. And I'm very disappointed with the latest supervisor who just says we have to supply the demand. Older houses cannot install a booster pump necessarily. I have already spent the last 2 months with the suppliers checking if it's a possibility, and all have said that on our property it would not be possible. So we're kind of tired after 3 years to spend thousands of dollars, basically because the inconsistent low pressure and then no pressure at all is damaging our irrigation valves, is damaging, recently it damaged our circulation pump because we were not notified. I know other neighbors, and it seems to be above and at the level of 60 and 70 Palmer Lane and beyond. So they have had similar issues, and we just get the runaround from cold water, and it's not right. So we have addressed it on several occasions with town council over the years, and with staff, and you know, we have to come to a solution. We cannot keep on adding housing when there's not enough water pressure for the residents in Portola Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. And also thank you for putting your thoughts into emails. That way staff can include that as it may be relevant to the 77 Palmer Lane review when it comes up. And I'm just guessing, and if Laura, if you would like to comment on this, I think that would be fine, that staff, having been made aware of this issue, is probably engaging with Cal Water on the subject at some level.
Yeah, we did receive another email from Ms. Vertonghen, and we will be engaging with Cal Water and see if we can find a contact person that would be able to answer some questions.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who's here to address us during oral communications?
I do not see any other hands up.
All right, I'll close oral communications and move on to new business. Item 1 of our agenda is the architectural review of an application for an addition and remodel to an existing residence at 107 Degas Road. This is the Bayless property. And I believe the staff person presenting today is Suzanne Avila. So please proceed.
Working on it. Thank you.
All right.
And I think while she's getting that up, that was a mistake. It is a new residence. It's not.
Correct.
So I
Yep.
think that was
That's
just
a
a
good
copy
point.
of error.
Yep.
So our mistake, our
That's
mistake.
right.
Sorry about that.
It is a tear down and replacement. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This,
Dan, if I could just stop you for a second.
Yep.
Could you set the slides so that it doesn't show your next slide? It only shows the one that you're on. So
don't know how to do-
I think it's up in display settings.
and
Watching people do this.
it doesn't give me an option to do anything
Is
different.
it the third one in from the right on the bottom, maybe?
I've got display settings, but it just gives me a couple of options. Duplicate slideshow, which I don't want. Swap presenter view and slideshow, but it's not doing anything.
Try it next to that on the left. No, where you were, just down on the bottom. Down in the bottom, where you've got the circle and the three
Oh,
dots.
yeah.
Go
That's
over-
what
go
that's
over-
what originally. That's
go-
originally. what I
Well,
went
actually,
to.
go over 2 and see what that is. Go over 2 to the left.
This one.
Yeah, try that. Oh, that's not good. All right, maybe not.
Well, I can try to go without my notes, but
No.
it may not be as smooth because I can certainly take this off if it's going to be a distraction.
So I think as long as ASCC
There you
members, as long
go.
as
There you
I
go.
know,
That
I
looks
just,
like
I can't see my
success.
notes. That's why I had it set up that way.
Oh.
That's fine. I know the project reasonably well, and hopefully I won't forget something important. Maybe it'd be as detailed. This is an architecture and site development review for a new residence, pool, and associated site improvements, including landscape and hardscape. So the ASCC did a preliminary review for this project on May 24th. And the commission was supportive of the house design and site layout, the use of fire-safe exterior materials and removal of non-native species from the property. Comments included providing clarification on the fencing proposal. There was some confusion about what fencing was staying, that it was already there, and what was proposed and what the net result would be. So I think we have a better plan and can show clearly what's being proposed here with the fencing. There was also a number of comments on outdoor lighting, including remove the one on the address and mailbox, consider removing some in the meadow area. Just an overall general reduction of outdoor lighting was desirable. And then there was a comment about removing pool lighting. There were 3 lights proposed in the pool. So the applicants have done some major changes to the landscape lighting or the overall outdoor lighting plan. The pool lights were reduced from 3 to 2. The in-ground lights along the library, along the driveway, they dropped one there. They lost 3 step lights. The path lights were pretty much cut in half, and the address light was eliminated. And then, as I mentioned previously, a revised fencing plan has been provided, which I will show you later. So here's the property. It's on the corner of West Ridge and Degas, and the driveway access is from Degas Road. The site is zoned RE 2.5A, so it's a 2.51 acre site. It has an average slope of 19%. It's pretty well situated where, the house is well separated from the neighbors, and there's, even with some of the tree removals that have occurred, there's still plenty of trees and screening on the property. So here's your overall site plan. As previously, I think someone mentioned, they're demolishing the existing improvements, which includes a house, carport, a pool, hardscape, and an ADU. And then in favor of the new residence pool, and it's got an attached garage. So here shows a little closer up of the area that's being developed itself. The green is the house footprint, the lighter green is the garage, which is attached. That blue rectangle is a pool, and then you can see the 4 parking spaces, 2 of which are in the garage and 2 are uncovered. So here's your plans. There is an upper level plan, which is the garage. You drive into the garage level and that's attached to the upper level. Then there's a level underneath that. The total floor area is 5,274 square feet, which is over 2,000 square feet under the maximum allowed. And the house is just under 28 feet high. And then the low to high height calc is 29 feet 4 inches. The front setback is a couple feet greater than what's required. The other 3 are much larger setbacks than the 20 feet that's required. Here's the impervious surface calculations. The proposed project is actually reducing quite a bit from what's on the site now. And then they'll have about 3,600 square feet remaining below the threshold of what's permitted for the site. Here's our grading plan. They're pretty much just recontouring around the driveway, access, just around the house pretty much in general. And then the bulk of the excavation is the house is being lowered down into the site. So based on the grading calculations, this project is an ASCC review. Here's some sections. And I think the sections illustrate quite well how the house is being dropped into the site. Most of the views, you're not going to see 2 stories. The only 2-story elevation is on the south side, which you'll see on the elevations. So here's the east and west elevations. So the west elevation is the one that faces towards Degas Road. And you can see the garage on the left side of that. And then the lower one is the west, and the upper one is the east, which is just facing the other side property line. I don't think it'll even be seen because of all the vegetation. The north elevation faces towards Westridge. This house is set down pretty well on the site. So from Westridge Road, you would look down onto it. It's not going to be upwards, even really visible from Westridge. The south facing elevation is that lower one, and that's the one full 2-story profile on the house. This is a pretty considerable distance from any neighbors and from the property lines. And it also has really good shading. I think the architect showed you at the last meeting, he has a model, so he can always put that up to show you how well articulated this house is, and that there is a lot of variation in the roof lines and things. Here's the roof plan. There are 2 small skylights, and then there's some banks of solar panels. And the roof plan looks real flat, but it isn't. Here's the exterior color and material palette. I think these colors will really blend this home into the site, and it's really a nice natural setting and color tones and finishes. As I previously mentioned, all of these materials are fire safe. That was an important aspect to the owners. So here's the original lighting plan. And I'm showing you this so that when you see the new, and in this area in here around my lights disappeared. Down in this area where there were quite a few lights around the pathways, and that was a comment that was, maybe look at reducing some of those lights in that area. So here's the resultant revised plan. I think the original plan had like 72 light fixtures total, and then this plan we're down to 47. So they've been reduced all the way around. All those path lights around that meadow area and the natural pathways were taken out. So here's the landscape plan. You can see the area where that meadow restoration is going to occur. And then I just kind of highlighted the new trees that are going to go in. The concentration's kind of over along Degas Road, where more of the non-natives came out. I think there's still a few non-natives still to be removed. They're kind of in the middle of this program, and the owners have been working with their arborist. They've also been fertilizing the native oaks and treating them for sudden oak death. One of the tree removals is a bay laurel, which is a carrier. So getting rid of that so that keep those trees safe and in good health. The water efficient landscape ordinance is being complied with. As you can see, they're at 77% of the allowable. Here's the fencing plan. So the blue line is an existing fence that runs kind of along West Ridge. It's down below the property line now. That fence is coming out. The purple line along the east property line is an existing fence that will stay in place. It's right on the property line and it's in good enough condition. The one that's not in good shape is the blue line that's being removed. The yellow lines are the 4-foot wood post and welded wire fence that's proposed. The driveway is not being gated, so there's a gap there at the driveway. And there's also some gaps if you look at the plan real closely down in this area. There's a little gap where there's not a fence. There's one down here. There's another one up here. So this fencing is kind of along delineating the property lines, but it isn't entirely closed and critters can get in and out. Deer can certainly jump a 4-foot fence. So I think it's going to preclude wildlife movement. Here's the detail of the fence, the wood framing and then the welded wire. So this project was noticed both for the last ASCC meeting in May and then this meeting to neighbors within 300 feet. The owners did meet with neighbors well early in the process. One letter of support came in and that was provided to ASCC. And again, with this current staff report, we didn't receive any other comments from any of the public. So here's the required findings that the needs to make to approve the project. And I can come back to these if you'd like me to put them up at any time during the discussion. These also were addressed in the staff report. Staff provided some draft language for the commission's consideration. And regarding the town's design guidelines, these are the different criteria that are looked at. Again, I can come back to this if needed. And then in conclusion, staff has found the project to be in compliance with the zoning criteria and the design guidelines. Project is categorically exempt from CEQA, so it does not require any environmental review. And staff is recommending approval of the architecture and site development permits, subject to the recommended conditions of approval. And we did provide draft conditions. And one thing I failed to mention, the owners did request to do construction staging within the front setback, which is the frontage along Degas. There's some discussion in the staff report about that. And we attached a narrative that we received from the architect on as well. But there are a number of reasons for doing that, working around a lot of the trees on the site. There's 2 seasonal drainages, there's slope, driveways configured. It kind of all makes sense to try to use that existing hardscape while they're doing construction. And so staff did recommend approval of that exception, and that is part of your decision this afternoon and should be included in, I think we put a condition of approval in there for it as well. So, and then lastly, here's your project team. So we have the property owners, David and Leah are here, and Michael Tauber, the architect. I believe the landscape architect's available, as well as the lighting consultant. So with that concludes my report, and let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Suzanne. Very informative. Commissioners, do you have questions for staff? I see people shaking their heads. I don't see any hands raised.
I had one question.
Yes, Al.
You know, we had the discussion about the lighting at the mailbox, and it sounds like it's coming out. But when I look at, okay, on sheet L3.00 in the packet that we got, it still describes a light on that post or on that structure that the mailbox is going to be in. So I guess I was just concerned that if we're approving the actual plan set, that has a comment that says that the address is lit up and that there's also kind of a light around the rim.
Yeah, I think that light was removed, but it was out in this area.
That's correct. Yeah, it's in the plan. The plan set that we got still
Okay.
says that it's gonna be there.
So it's fine if you'd like to include a condition that that light not be there, or
Okay,
like to handle that. Isn't on the plan. We perhaps got an older plan in there by accident.
I think if I can speak to that, Al, I think you're looking at the landscape drawing versus the LT drawing, which is the lighting plan. So it's I'd encourage you to maybe put that as a condition of approval. Just, it's an oversight on our part. I didn't catch that landscape referred to the lighting in that location. But it's our full intent to remove it per the LT drawing, which supersedes the
Okay.
landscape drawing. Thank you.
great. Okay, yeah, so I'll just keep that in mind, and maybe we can do that as a condition, but thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Doesn't look like it. Michael and Baylesses, do you have any additional presentation?
I don't have any additional presentation. Do you?
I'd be happy to kind of run through what I showed you last time, just to reacquaint yourself and see things in a three-dimensional form, if that's worth your time to do. I had planned to talk to some of the things that Suzanne actually hit on and showed pretty much the same drawings with a little bit different notations, but it sounds like she's done that. So, but I can quickly run through this if you'd like me to do that, if that would help kind of refresh your memory about what the thing looks like in the third dimension.
Well, I'm guessing that people's recollections are still pretty fresh because you did such a great job of getting this back to us at the very next possible meeting. I don't know how you did
Well, we appreciate that.
We're motivated.
it. I guess so. But I'll ask my colleagues, would anybody like to get a brief refresh on the project from the architect?
I don't need one. I'm fine.
I'm fine with that.
All right, Jane?
I would say, am I on mute? Okay, no. I would love some more details for the decking material, which is, I guess, it's like a concrete, right? Decking material, like a concrete tile, to be just noted by town, so we can use this for our wildfire preparedness hardening. I think it's a really smart idea, which is incredible use on this property. So if that could just be reinforced to the town, would be wonderful.
Great. Well, Megan, we'll make that our first question from commissioners to the applicant, and maybe Michael or the Baylesses have some comments about it.
Great.
If so, please go ahead.
Sure. I mean, just to clarify, what we're intending to do. Oh, wow. Okay. What we're intending to do is, rather than have an open wood deck, is to have it enclosed, and we'll use probably porcelain tile at this point on the deck, much like you would in a shower. You know, it'll have a waterproof membrane underneath it. So essentially, you're creating you know, like a tiled deck that will have drains, and the drain will take the water away.
And Michael, what is the structure? Is it wood, but because
It's going to be wood. Yeah. So what we're planning to do is a wood frame. Well, there's a superstructure of steel, which you see on the south elevation. That'll be structural, supporting wood frame, which will end up being clad in plaster on the underside and on the face, or at least the underside. And then the top is a tile finish. So basically you're encapsulating all the wood. Mm-hmm. So not exposed to fire.
That's excellent.
Yeah, that's great.
Right. Megan, do you have any other questions?
No, I'm just really impressed with the hardness of this beautiful home. So.
Yeah. Right. Al, do you have any questions?
I don't. No.
No. Jane?
No, none.
And I see Kenny has not joined us yet. So I don't have any questions either. So we'll close the presentation portion and invite members of the public who would like to comment on this application to do so now before we take it into consideration. Laura, do you see anybody with their hand raised for this?
Yes, we have Caroline Vertonghen.
All right. Caroline, welcome again. Please proceed.
Sorry, I apologize. This must be a technical issue. I've unmuted myself twice already, so I apologize.
That's all right. We can hear you now.
No, I have no comments, actually.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine too. All right. I'll close public comments and bring this back to commissioners for discussion and possible motion making. Al, how would you like to start us off?
I would love to. I'm just thrilled with this project and happy to talk about it. I'm happy to see the changes that have been made. I thought that the original proposal was outstanding, and the few little things that I had concerns on have been addressed. It's rare in my experience to see a project that has so many positives. I mean, I think that the siting of the house is great. It's going to preserve views from Westridge. I think the architecture is just striking. Good choice of materials. Fire safe is super. I think that the landscaping plan is very well thought out, and it's mostly limited to screening. It's a good plant palette, no turf, and lots of the lot is being left natural, which I think is great. I think that the fencing proposal, now that I understand it, is excellent. That's one of the things I was a little concerned about before, but no, I mean the 4-foot fence in a lot of the area, and then the breaks in other places are great. I think the lighting plan is much improved, and I like the way it's kept in close to the house. Of course, we always like to see less impervious, and having you reduce it from what currently is there is great. I'm a big fan of not having gates on driveways, so I'm thrilled that you've gone that route. You haven't built to the max limits. The driveway routing is better than it was. You're staying on septic. I think you've done just a great job protecting native trees and removing non-natives. I think that this is going to be a great upgrade for the site, and that you're going to end up with a house that you absolutely love, and that it's just going to look great to anybody who's going by. I have a hard time coming up with anything that I don't like about it.
Great. Well, thanks, Al. I'm not sure you've left very much for the rest of us to say. We'll give it a shot.
Well, you might disagree with me.
We might. It's possible. Megan, do you disagree with Al?
No, I think Al was very articulate there. And I just want to emphasize again, the material choices. So smart. This is kind of a model of what we'd love to see coming forward to our commission and to our town, and all the residents here will be very appreciative of how fire safe this house is. I love your changes in the reduction of lighting. The fencing is absolutely okay. There's some openings, they're 4 foot, right on, great. And incredible improvement to what's there now. So thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Jane, do you have comments?
I think I'm at this point, I may as well just say ditto to all of the above. I'm very happy with all the changes that you made, especially regarding the lighting. I'm also grateful for being taught the new acronym of BUG.
Yeah.
Delighted with all the work that you've done to remove the eucalyptus and the trees that, to make the property more fire safe. And I really look forward to seeing this completed and as an example to the rest of us of how to do it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane. Do we have Kenny yet? Looks like not. All right. Then I don't have much to add, but I agree with all of the positive statements and comments that have been made here. I would like to add that I think this project and your approach to it demonstrates that it is possible to continue to respect the town's design guidelines and every aspect of those design guidelines and still have a project that meets modern requirements, technical requirements, and fire hardening requirements. And that's good to see. You know, we're always concerned about the sort of conflicts that come up with those design guidelines that we, you know, hold so dearly. And it's just wonderful to see a project that does so well with them. I am very comfortable with the exception suggested in the staff conditions to allow construction staging in the setback on Degas. I think it's a logical place to do it. It has much less impact there than it would with any access off of, say, Woodside Road. And of course, the street itself isn't suitable for much in the way of staging or parking. So I'm happy to see it's possible on site and happy to approve the exception to allow it to take place in the setback. I think we should add a condition, although I don't know it's strictly necessary, to make sure that the landscape light, I'm sorry, the address light gets removed from the landscape planting plan, just to be consistent with LT drawing. Other than that, I'm comfortable making all of the findings. I'm comfortable with all of the conditions. And unless somebody has more discussion, I'm ready to entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the new residence pool and associated site improvements at 107 Degas Road, with the added note, we lack of lighting on the address illumination.
Thank you, Jane. Second by Al. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And with Kenny absent, that makes it 401. And you're approved.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Very
Yeah,
much.
congratulations. It's great proposal.
Thank
Thank you very much.
We're very excited.
Great. And we are too. Well, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the building department.
Yeah. That's right.
Yes.
Okay,
You have a nice day.
thanks,
thank
you too.
Thank you.
Okay,
So Laura, what I was saying about this decking material, which would be great for our our wildfire preparedness communications and committee, would be if we have enough materials and idea boards to give to the community, the better, right? Because nobody wants to lose their home. Whether you have a deck that's deteriorated and you want to rebuild it, if we had like a library of materials and options that the town could offer to residents, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I think this is a great idea. I absolutely agree. Maybe we can find a way for maybe ASCC and the Wildfire Prep Committee to work together and pull some examples out of recent projects. And then we just have to think through, you know, how we're posting them and how we're using them since they're architects' designs. But I think that most architects would be interested in having their projects be examples. So I think this is a great idea.
Because we have not seen a tile deck and, you know, steel enclosed, cladded, plastered deck in a long time, maybe ever.
Right. But it's the direction we'd like to see people go.
I love it.
yes. I have seen a few in other communities that are on the, you know, the urban wildlife interface that have to have enclosed decks and non-flammable surfaces. But as you say, not in Portola Valley yet. And, you know, while we don't want to lose our houses, I think we also don't want to lose our decks because outdoor living is so important here.
Yeah.
And maybe this would be a little out of order, but it seems to me that the Baylesses and Mr. Talbert did a lot of research and thinking on this subject in their selection of all the materials. And if one of them would be willing to, help out in some way, like giving permission to take their materials list and publish it on a frequently asked questions page as an example of fire hardened materials that, are now in use in town.
Yep.
Something like that. I think that would be a helpful thing to do, and hopefully fairly efficient for staff resources too. So.
Great.
All right, let's go on to item 2, and I'll give a little bit of, well, maybe, actually, I'm sorry, it's item 3 that we need to discuss a little bit, but item 2, let's talk about appointing an ASCC member to the ad hoc work group to review parking area at Alpine Inn. Laura, do you have an explanation here? What is it? What is it we're trying to do?
What is it? So the town has been engaging with the owners of the Alpine Inn and talking about parking issues that have been related to their success. And so one area that's been under discussion is the current design of the lot. And if there could be changes to the design of the lot that might make it more efficient, so that we would not have so many parking impacts that are coming from that. So it does make some sense to think about that. And there's been a number of different people involved in that because of the way that the public uses the field and the way the access is. And so there's been some members of different committees as well as council liaisons that have been working on this issue. So the idea is to have an ASCC member just meet with that group just a few times, like maybe 3 meetings max is what we're thinking, just to provide some early input on that collaborative process as they're thinking about what the options would be. So 3 meetings max over Zoom over the next couple of months to help give some feedback on those early plans. So that's what it is. It's nothing formal. It's just the way we want commissions and committees and council and everyone to work together on this one.
Can I ask who owns the land outside the Risotti's Inn? Because isn't a lot of the parking lot belonging to the town anyway, including the field?
Yes. So it's the joint facility between the town and then the private owners of the Alpine Inn. So that's why we wanted to take a little bit different and a really collaborative approach to it.
And what about the eucalyptus that are next to the inn? As in they're right on the corner of the road. There's like several large eucalyptus. Are they town or Risotti's?
On Arastadero?
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. It's been a while since I've had the site plan in front of me. So I'm not sure. I couldn't answer that.
Okay. I was just thinking that if those could be cut down, that would give good for fire and area. So
clever.
Yeah. I would assume that I would need to recuse myself. Not only do I live close, but both my daughters work there.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's probably the best. That would be the right thing to do, would not for Megan to participate.
So Daisy and Reese, when you check in as hostess, they're adorable and sweet.
Oh, I bet I saw one of them just last week, probably when I was there for lunch.
Yeah.
They're all adorable.
Yeah, they've been working there since October, and it's been a life changer for them through COVID to have an environment to engage with others. And it's super fun.
Great. I don't see anybody jumping up and down to take this assignment, but I am happy to do it. I've actually already had one kind of offline discussion with Jeremy on the subject, so I'm kind of familiar with the state of the discussions at the moment. So, and since it's not, doesn't sound like a real long-term and heavily involved commitment, I'm confident I can fit it into my schedule. So
Great.
as long as people can work around mine a little bit. So we'll make that happen.
I'd be okay as well if you know, just on reserve if you like, Dave.
I appreciate that, Jane. So let's do that. Let's put me on the ad hoc committee and list Jane as a backup who hopefully won't need to be tapped for it.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Got it.
Is there any member of the public that would like to address us on this agenda item?
And there are no hands up.
All right, good. Well, then I'll close that item, and coming back to our agenda here, we have item 3, ASCC appointment ad hoc housing element committee. I think that should have a G on it, housing, but just a.
Sorry, how many typos can I fit into one agenda? I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
I collected them all together at once, all the mistakes on one agenda.
That's good. Used them up.
So
yes, please explain why this is back on the agenda. I have a sense that I know why, but everybody should hear it.
So you'll remember that you made an appointment to the Housing Element Committee, and then the council was talking about their appointments of residents. And through the discussion of that, another resident brought up the fact that we have 2 commissioners that are appointed that are married. Al Sill on behalf of ASCC and Ann Koffsill on behalf of Planning Commission. And so the council asked both bodies to just consider that. So not at all that it's a criticism and not to necessarily direct either commission, but just as an opportunity to look at it and see if there was a chance to do it differently. So I think the council's just asking ASCC and Planning Commission to see if it may be appropriate or what you think about another member serving on the commission. Now, my interpretation of that is that, you know, if other ASCC members are busy and it's not possible, but I think that that would be okay, but they were just asking you to consider it. So that is a little bit of the background information on that.
What's the list of people that are currently on the Housing Element Committee?
Do you want to see who you might be dating or not?
Yeah.
My own life without right.
I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me. It would take a minute to pull it up. I don't know if Council Member Warnikoff is there and is able to join us in this conversation as well. She was on the
I'm here. I can
selections.
I'm here. I can dig it up.
Thank you, Council Member.
And to be honest with all of you, I can't take anything on new right now, so I could not take out.
Yeah, I think that people may think that Ann and I coordinate more than we do. We're both pretty independent, so the thought that there would be any sort of coordination,
Well,
we don't seem to be able to coordinate in anything else in our life. So
I don't know, Al. I mean, when did a married couple ever disagree about anything?
But you know, whatever. If we think that somebody else is appropriate, no problem.
Are you both members of Alpine? Because I had heard that there was a sort of heavy weight for Alpine membership on the Housing Element Committee.
We are not. Neither of us have anything to do with Alpine Hills.
Okay.
So I can't find a list, but I can definitely go from memory. It's Bill Kelly, Jocelyn Swisher, Amy Armsby. Let's see. Gosh, I'm drawing blanks all of a sudden now that I said I could do it from memory.
Sue Crane. I remember there was Sue Crane and Bob Turcott.
Bob Turcott, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Shoot, I'm having total brain freeze.
Jamie Ward.
Pardon me?
Jamie
Ward. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. No, shoot, guys.
On planning commission,
I'm gonna be better if I could find this list, but
Helen, somebody.
Helen Walter.
Walter.
Nicholas, you had a contribution there.
on planning commission, I'm also serving on it.
Right.
Sarah Dorahay. And I think that's everybody. There should be 9, but I think we covered everybody looking through this.
Right. Well,
I agree with your assessment though, Dave. I don't think it was just based on the question from the member of the public. It was just a request to go back and just share the thought, but I don't think that there was a required expectation of a change.
mm-hmm. Well, I'm happy to reconfirm my support for Al's participation for all kinds of reasons, and not the least of which is that with no disrespect to anybody on the commission, I consider Al to be the most rational among us. So
I'm not sure I can live up to that. But
well,
okay.
no, you have a very well-ordered mind, and I appreciate that, and I think that that's going to be a real asset to that group.
I agree.
What
So
do you
thank
think
you.
about us, Megan?
Listen, I value everyone here for all kinds of reasons.
Exactly.
Don't ask me to choose, but
You're backpedaling now, aren't you?
no, Al has my 100% support for this position, and I also really appreciate his willingness to do it. So
I agree wholeheartedly.
I agree.
after reconsidering, I'm still 100% in support of Al
I'm
from
there.
this group.
Okay, that's great. We'll transmit that recommendation and let the council know that it continues to be a recommendation that I'll serve. And so we'll let them know that you had this conversation.
Great. And before I close this agenda item, I'll invite anyone from the public who would like to address us about it to do so now.
And I do not see any hands up.
Okay. Item number 3 closed. Let's move on to commission staff and committee reports and recommendations. And we'll start with commissioner reports. Has anybody been involved in anything in the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks, let's call it?
Nothing.
None for me.
Not for me.
I had some minor involvement in the discussion about the Alpine Inn parking lot with Jeremy. So I knew what this agenda item was going to be about. And it's an interesting and somewhat complicated issue because it would appear that most of what we might all call the problem actually occurs in Santa Clara County and on Arastradero Road, but it certainly affects all of us. And to the extent that the town owns roughly half of the parking lot, maintains an easement through the private portion, and also has to find a way to accommodate other users of the soccer field. I think it's important for the town to be involved in this. When I first heard about it, I was kind of doubtful about, why are we getting involved? But I understand now that there are some considerable issues for town residents here. So I think it's a good thing that the town's getting involved in this, and hopefully we'll come up with some good ideas. I don't think I was involved in anything else during this time period.
Removing the eucalyptus.
Thank you for bringing that up earlier. I believe that is on the private portion of the property. It might even be in the right of way for Alpine Road or Arastradero Road, more likely Alpine. But, certainly one of the things that, among the things that could be considered, I suppose, would be some actual physical improvements to the private parking lot. There's probably a way to get some more parking spaces in there than there are now. But I expect after our first meeting or so of the ad hoc committee, I'll come back with a report about the different ideas being floated around.
Very good.
I'll just sort of mention, because this is maybe the appropriate place to do it. This isn't so much an official ASCC type action, but I have been engaging with the town resident, Dennis Starkovich, for the last 7 or 8 months about his concerns for the process by which his neighbor at 29 Valley Oak Road got permission to proceed with his project. It's a discussion that's appropriately, I think, being handled more at a town manager and perhaps town attorney level. Mr. Starkovich's concerns are that somehow procedures were violated, and that we, the ASCC, should be taking some kind of action here. I defer on those questions to more knowledgeable people. Jeremy and Cara Silver, our town attorney, are aware of the situation. And, to the extent we might end up getting involved in some way, it would be at the direction of, authority figures above us. I don't think it's actually, and Jeremy actually checked with the town attorney on this for me, that we as commissioners don't actually have authority to sort of open a closed item, either for a re-review or an appeal or anything like that. So as far as the official position of the town or the ASCC on this, it is a closed item. But I just thought I'd mention it because Dennis is in the mode of reaching out to as many people as he can get in contact with, and hopefully he's aware enough of Brown Act issues to not create a serial meeting among us, but just be thoughtful about engaging if Dennis reaches out.
This is a property in the ranch.
Yes, it's at the very, very end of Valley
Yes.
Oak.
Oh, yes.
Way down at the end.
Yeah.
Is it the one that's the neighbor is the Krabouts?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Anything else to report? Let's move on to item 5, or actually, I'll invite public comments. Trying to remember to do that on every item. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on item 4?
No hands are up.
Great. Let's move on to item 5, staff report. Laura, do you have some things for us?
Just a couple things. Looking ahead, we've got 77 Palmer for the next ASCC meeting on June 28th, tentatively scheduled. You may be tracking the fire station number 8 application that you have already reviewed and is going forward to Planning Commission. So that Planning Commission meeting is on Wednesday. So we have received some additional comments from the public. And so I know that there's a lot of interest in that project. And so if you're interested and your friends and neighbors are interested, please have them. We have a project page for this. So we are trying to do that for more of the projects of townwide significance. So there's development projects on the website now, and the fire station, there's a lot of information. All the previous staff reports and minutes are all posted there. So if you know people that are interested, that's a great place for them to start. And if you're tracking it yourself, you can also see how everything is going there. So the Planning Commission will review it, and then they'll be making a recommendation up to the town council for the town council's final consideration. Then I wanted to update you on meetings. We will be on Zoom for now, and staff is working on the technical capabilities to do hybrid meetings. So we're working on that technology right now. So we'll see what the timing of that turns out to be. So you'll assume that we're going to be on Zoom for now, and then we'll let you know how that evolves and when we're able to go back to in-person meetings. And then it'll also be time for us to start going back into the field for field meetings soon. So that will be this summer. We'll be going back into the field. So we'll be working on that and thinking about what projects we have coming up. I'm still going to be a little bit cautious for now. If there are sites that can easily be viewed, without a field meeting, we might not hold them immediately, but we want to start gearing up to be able to do those again so that we're ready when the projects come up that really need that kind of on-site attention. So those are the main updates that I have for you. If you've been tracking things of kind of, overall department significance, there are some changes in the planning and building budget for this year that you might be interested in. The council has given us the green light and we are doing a recruitment for a senior planner right now. So this is a position that the council previously approved before the pandemic, and then we did not fill the position because of so much uncertainty that was going on. So we're in the middle of a recruitment. And so we are hopeful that we'll have a senior planner that we'll be bringing on board in the summer. We are also extending all of our consultant planner contracts because we're so busy. So Suzanne, who's here with us this afternoon, is going to continue, as well as the consultant planners that we have from another firm. And we'll be bringing in another person, another assistant planner that's going to be working on some other things. So I'm working really hard to address the backlog of projects that we've experienced during the pandemic and trying to put the resources in place to do that. So that is going better all the time. We're making progress on that. I've also brought in, with the support of the council, a contract building official who is a very experienced building official who used to be in Menlo Park, as well as a contract code enforcement officer. And to assure everyone, we're still doing a very soft touch with code enforcement, still keeping it to the town way with communication and not a lot of strong enforcement action. But that's giving my team and the planning and building staff some flexibility to address some of the backlogs and really focus our customer service into the areas that we need it the most. So wanted you to be aware of those changes. It's a little different for us to have so many consultant services, but with the volume of work that we've been dealing with, it's been necessary to bring in that additional help. So if you got any questions around any of those things, please let me know. It's not directly related so much to your ASCC work, but I know that you're the ones that are out in the community and talking to people all the time. So wanted you to be aware of those changes, and I'll certainly let you know if we have a successful recruitment for the senior planner, because that will be a big thing for us to have a new permanent staff person. So that's the update that I have for you.
Laura, is there any talk about a Brookside neighborhood new construction? Have you heard of that?
I'm sorry, Brookside neighborhood what? I didn't hear you.
New construction.
I'm not sure. Is there a particular project that you're?
Yeah, friends just come to me and say, what's going on Brookside? And then the other question that I've heard a lot about too is, what was the activity on Alpine Road it appeared to be the Stanford Wedge project?
Oh, that's a great question. So it is the Stanford Wedge project, and that is geologic study that they are doing there.
Yeah.
So that is under the direction of the town geologist that requested additional study. So that's the activity that's been happening.
Yeah. That's what I assumed, but thank you.
And we've got that meeting, that commission meeting, both commissions on the 30th of June still.
So good question. Thank you. That meeting is not confirmed yet. We expect to confirm it probably tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. So the proposal is to have a joint meeting of ASCC and planning commissioners, those that are not used for the Stanford Wedge project. And the topic that we anticipate discussing is the amount of the site that will receive story poles and staking. So it will be a discussion about how we're going to visualize the site and what kind of information we need for that. And then we're thinking about if there's an additional topic that we can cover as well, drawing from the questions that came from the 2 study sessions that we had earlier this year. So it's currently a tentative date to be confirmed in the next couple of days. And then if it's confirmed, I'll let you all know, and then it'll be posted on the website so the public can engage with that as well.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Laura, can you throw out an estimate approximately what the backlog is right now? Is it a 3-month backlog, a 6-month backlog? How would you characterize it?
It is hard to characterize because we're still sorting through the relationship with the pandemic, and that's been hard for us to understand that. It's not a direct relationship. I think my best estimate right now is it's probably a 3-month backlog to be back to typical response times. So we are pretty far off of our typical response times right now in terms of being able to meet with applicants, receive projects, and schedule them for reviews. So I think with the plans that I have in place, by the end of the summer, we will have caught up a fair amount, and going into the fall, we'll be closer to our normal response times. And then we've been communicating with the council, and I'll be continuing to check in with the council on the planning and building resources overall. So once we have a little more information about what's pandemic related, we might be back with them talking about if we have the right resources in the right places.
Great. All right. Thank you. Are there any members of the public that would like to address us on this agenda item?
And no hands are up.
No hands. Great. I'll close this item and we'll move on to reviewing and approving the minutes from May 24th. Has everybody had a chance to look at those?
Yep.
Any corrections, comments?
Didn't see anything.
None
They look
from-
fine to me.
All right. Will someone make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second? Second from Jane. Great. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. And Kenny absent. That passes 401. All right. Well, thanks everybody for participating, for being here. And it was a very quick and easy meeting.
Yeah.
So
Great
it's
project.
wonderful when we have great projects to review.
Mhm.
All right. Well,
Okay,
let's
thanks
see.
a lot.
Somebody was not going to be able to attend on the 28th. Was that Jane
No.
or Megan?
No, I
No,
think the
anybody?
one I've got is Megan's not available on July 12th. That's the
Oh,
one
okay.
that I've got.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, great. Have a great time, everybody. Good evening.
All right. Good
Thanks,
evening.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.